What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Community Corner. We're happy to be here. Mr. Skifter and I am UG Jellies. With me is UG Skifter, of course. And we're happy to talk about Ethereal with you guys. Welcome, everyone on Twitch and YouTube. Welcome, all of our Patreon subscribers. Thank you guys again. And today, you guys, we're going to kind of go over a bunch of different things that have happened. We'll talk about last week's stress test, what changed or what happened that we ended last week's stress test. We'll talk about some new item art that we received for the starting items. We'll talk about the map update and the changes that are coming to the map. We'll also talk about some of the next myths coming down the pipeline. And then we'll end it with an announcement about when you guys can get your hands on Ethereal next. So we're excited to be here, excited to get this all started, and can't wait to go through it with you guys. We see some Team Skifters in the chat. What is that nonsense?
I'm better. Higher win rate. Let's go.
All right, guys. So first off, what happened during the stress test last week? So we can kind of start it off with the download servers. When we first gave out the first set of access keys, we had access to download servers. And while we expected there to be a bunch of people downloading at once, the sheer just level of what the download could entail was outside of what we expected. And so it definitely ran slower. We quickly uploaded a version of the game for you guys up to Google Drive. You're able to download that and play. Turn down the volume of the music. Sure thing.
Oh no, wrong thing.
But so we uploaded a version to the Google Drive, went through and made sure you guys were able to download that way, and then later on increased the download servers so it was easier for more of you to download the game at the same time. So that was kind of where we started, and then we'll let Skifter kind of describe what happened after that.
Yeah. So yeah, minor oversight from us. Won't happen again. Don't worry. The first real bug that started being seen a couple hours in. We started seeing some games roll in, and then we added more people, and people started partying up. And there was the client bug that was not passing the player information to the backend and not adding them to the game. So if sometimes you were in a party of 3, only one person would actually get added to the game, and then there would only be like 8 people in the game, for example. Or that's why Mangoose, for example, had the 6v4, because there must have been a party of 3 and only one person of that party actually made it in. The other 2 did not. That was a problem that we found a fix to pretty early on, and we were like, you know what? Instead of just canceling the stress test, let's just push a patch. So we prepared a patch. We got a patch ready, and we decided, you know, we're gonna push this to the players, and we're gonna keep going. Like, we're not gonna let this stop us. So in the meantime, while that whole process was going in the back, we found a couple bugs in the back end, nothing really major. And so we needed to restart the back end at the same time. And so that all happened, you know, in the hour and a half that we went down. At that time, we also, like Jelly had mentioned, we upgraded our download server. And so yeah, it was just everything all at once, and we were just like, let's just get it all done. So when we pushed out the patch, we had to reset the backend because it had an update, and then due to the client also not forced logging players out when the backend reset, it caused problems with the database. So when everybody came back up, some people were still logged into their clients when the backend restarted, but it didn't have any lobby information. Like their lobby was then invalid, and the database couldn't process that because there were still players logged in. It didn't log everybody out. And so then the database started throwing errors, started having problems, and that's why you saw the login functionality have problems. That's why you saw the matchmaker just not throwing games at all. When we first restarted it after that hour and a half gap, we had a couple matches pop and a couple people get into lobbies, and then they ended up just not being able to complete the lobbies and actually get into games because the database was like, nah. And then we were like, okay. Then we had like over 100 people in queue and nothing was happening. We were like, okay, something is wrong. But we had a match go, so what happened? So we were like, okay, that's when we sent out a message to everybody in the general chat. We're like, okay, we're going to restart the backend one more time, and hopefully something clicks, and or we can find out what happened and fix it. So we decided to, you know, restart the backend, and that's when I had everybody log out at that point and try to reset the system. And then nobody could log back in, and then we're like, okay, like at this point, something is genuinely wrong with the database. It's not like anybody log in, the matchmaker, the backend is like not getting the information it needs. There is something wrong. at that point we were like, okay, this is not going to be like a right now fix. Let's just, we're good. Let's just hold off, and we'll reassess and go from.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, the big thing is going forward, what we're already planning on having, and it's actually being actively implemented into the game, is an auto updater. So if in the future something happens and we have to push a patch to fix a bug or fix something, what it'll do is it'll tell the game that there is a new patch available and have you log out and log back in and download that patch automatically. So you'll be able to go through and basically do that automatically, and the system will tell you when there's something new, instead of having to rely on announcements from us via Discord or via other platforms.
Yeah.
But the big thing that we learned coming out of that stress test is that our game servers were solid, more so than we expected. We were ready to increase our capacity in our game servers to allow for more games to be open. But when we actually had games running and had we had like 20 games going at one point, all in conjunction with each other, and the server was running better than we even expected. So
way better than I thought.
Exactly. And so being able to take that information and know that that's really solid, and then now we have those backend fixes and the database fixes all coming through, and the party system and all that. Once all of those are together, we would be really solid going forward. And so that's a lot of that stuff has either already been fixed or is actively being fixed by our team. So we are hot to trot on getting this game out back in your hands as soon as possible, guys. Yeah. We're really excited for that, and we just can't wait to give you guys that next opportunity when it comes. But for now, we'll transition over to our items.
Item hype.
And there was a little bit of a teaser there for you guys, but what we're going to do is talk about the items, and the new item art is all available. We actually just received that this week from our art team. So we talked last time about the new items and the starting items and the new tier 3 ring that we added into the game. First one here we have is Bloody Claw. Skip there, go ahead and talk about Bloody Claw again for the viewers.
Yeah. So the Bloody Claw is going to be a bruiser starting item. Essentially, for those of you that recall, we talked about it last community corner. The lower health you are, the more physical power you get, so the stronger you get. So the bloodier you get, the more power you get. Yeah, this is honestly is my favorite item art out of all the ones that we're going to show you. I'd say top 2. I have another one, but this one's pretty good. I like this one a lot.
Yeah, and I mean, it looks incredible. The art team does a very, very good job on all of these arts. So the next one we have is our Broken Pocket Watch. Broken Pocket Watch is kind of going to be our caster starter. What it is after a certain amount of time, your next ability cast has no mana cost. So the thing that we really want to imbue with this one is that the time element, right, is over time, right? It breaks, and effectively the mana cost is 0 for that item. We're really excited to have this art in it. It looks incredible. The shattered glass, the pocket watch, the whole 9 yards. Really, really cool. In addition, we have another caster starting item, which is the Unending Chalice. This is probably one of my favorites of the new item arts, because you've got that like black hole that feels like it's drawing in, but also that it's overflowing and spewing out of the chalice. Really, really cool. Lots of detail in the chalice itself, the whole 9 yards.
The reflections, just the gems, everything.
It's just so clean. Like it just feels clean. The big thing for this one is that what it does is when you cast an ability, you'll get some mana refunded over time based on your total missing mana. So the less mana you have, the more mana you get when you cast an ability, and then it goes on cooldown for a certain amount of time. And then the next one, Skip there, go ahead and talk about that.
Yeah, so the next two are going to be the marksman starters, so the carries. They're going to be those 2 starters. The first one is going to be Epic Hat. It's the one that gives you Omnivamp, which is just healing across the board on everything. Magical damage, magical lifesteal, physical lifesteal, everything. It gives you very much Robin Hood vibes, you know, the hat with the feather. Like it very much gives you, how'd you put it earlier? Like I like the pompous,
it's like, to me, it exudes the marksman main energy of like, let me wear this fancy hat, let me put a feather in it. Like, oh dude, it's super, it fits marksman so well, I think.
Yeah, it does. I really like it. And the next one is going to be the Lucky Coin. This is definitely one of the favorites as well. It's got the 4-leaf clover in it, really emphasizing, you know, the luck aspect. Well, for those of you that recall, this item gives you more gold for killing minions, and then after you kill a certain amount of minions, it gives you permanent movement speed for the rest of the game. And this item art is really,
Yeah, dude, this
honest,
one
but
really shows to me the detail that the artists are willing to put in for these items, right? If you guys think about it, the items are going to be the teeny tiny dot right in the small right-hand corner of your screen, right? So they don't need to pack this much detail into them, but they do anyway. Like this one, you can see there's like smudge marks on the coin where someone's finger like rubbed against it. And that is such a level attention to detail that I love and makes these item arts look so cool and just feel really good across the board.
Yeah. It makes them look that much better in game too.
Absolutely. Even if it's tiny, it's going to feel great.
Yeah.
The next one we have is Regrowing Moss. This is going to be your kind of tank starting item. If you want to play safer in lane, this is what you're going to build. And similar to Unending Chalice, but just on the health side, that when you take damage, you're going to gain health back over time based on your total missing health. So the lower health you are, the more health you gain back when you take damage from an enemy myth. And honestly, brilliant item. It's going to help. We were kind of missing that early game tank item, and so this helps those that want to play a little more tanky, especially with Grognark coming out, who's going to be the tank. This will be a great item for Grognark to take in the early game. And then finally, Skifter, what's the last item we got? It's not a starter, it's a tier 3, but...
Yeah, so the last one is Ring of Protection. I know some of you guys built it in the stress test. It's a ring, which means all rings, including this one, give magic power and magic pen. This item gives armor. So you see the ring, you see the ironclad like look and feel to it. So you're like, okay, armor and a ring. So pretty nice. I like this one. This one's the other favorite that I have along with the Bloody Claw.
Yeah, and I think this item really goes through and talks about and shows the evidence of the item itself, right? If you guys don't remember, Ethereal's item system is based around the item type gives you a certain stat or 2 stats. Right, so the rings are based around giving you magic power and magic pen. So this gives you that vibe of like you're stronger because just you build a ring. But then the item art itself also shows you like, great, you're also getting armor for building this tier 3. So now you've got this iron ring with the bullets bouncing off of it, and it's such a cool design for a ring of all things. Like the first couple times looking at it, I couldn't even tell you that those were bullets, right? And,
yeah,
and it was like, I looked closer, I was like, wait a second, that's actually a bullet. Like that's not just something bouncing off. That's not just anything like that. It's specifically designed with that intent. And absolutely brilliant. It fits perfectly on Iran. And so like Skifter said, a lot of you built it during the last stress test, and really exciting stuff. We've got a couple of questions about the items. Mangoose, is the gem drawing blood into it for Bloody Claw? That's kind of how I see it, is the lower health you get, it's kind of drawing that life essence in to give you more power in your strikes, is giving you a little bit of that extra, that design attached to it as well. And is the Vortex in the Chalice non-alcoholic? I would recommend probably not drinking Vortexes, but you know, you do you.
Yeah, we're not gonna judge here.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. Well, let's transition over to our map update. So the big thing for the map is the map has been completely redesigned.
Visually, yeah.
And so going through, we've got a huge, like, kind of facelift on Void, and then complete fundamental changes on Fire and Ice. So we'll start with Void here. And the big thing on Void, if you guys remember this image that's on screen, is where the tree trunk goes over the map. So what we did is we changed that to be a solid path, because during gameplay, if Noxus dropped her ult, it would hit the top of the tree trunk, but not who's in the tree trunk. And so it was basically a way that you could just dodge abilities just by hanging out inside the tree trunk. We didn't want that, and it didn't feel like a good gameplay design. So we made it a more open path, made it slightly wider as well, so it's easier to get on and off of it. But made the aesthetic kind of fit the map and the upgrade that entire look of everything that's around it. The second image we have here for you is the lane itself. So this is right behind, or right next to your tier 2 in the Void lane, shooting down toward the enemy side. There's a lot of details in here to find. You can see the flowers that are on there, kind of just, the map just looks more beautiful and stunning when you're playing on it. And you can see the new trees, the new rock, the new textures, everything's kind of just better texture, better feeling overall. But the big thing is in the distance, you can see the base. You can see the enemy base towering there. And that's something that you can look at this base from pretty much anywhere on the map and know exactly where the enemy base is and orient yourself accordingly.
And your base.
Exactly. And so you'll be able to see both bases from pretty much anywhere in the map, assuming you're not standing, of course, right against a rock. But this just gives them that more towering feeling, makes the bases feel more like a base instead of just an area on the map where the Elder belongs. So really, it's about giving more identity to the map as a whole. The third image we have kind of shows a jungle path here. This is like behind your tier 2 tower. You're going to see more of the foliage, more of the trees. You see fire lane in the distance. Even the bottom of fire lane, you can tell has a different feeling to it and is more obvious that it's fire lane. But you can just kind of see this jungle path, see the pathing on the ground. Just again, our map team really paid attention to the details to try and give you very clear evidence of where things are and what's going on. So
yeah,
Skifter,
we really see that in the next ones.
Yeah, absolutely. So Skifter, go ahead and talk to us about the ice lane.
Yeah, so picture. Okay, so this first picture, you're gonna see just complete visual overall, like an actual ice lane. Like you see ice on the ground, you see snow in the trees, it's snow everywhere. It's legitimately. So this view is looking into the middle of the lane. On the right hand side, you're going to see a wall that is actually the new ice cave where the ice wyvern is going to be. Instead of just a giant snowball, it's actually going to be ice and a cave.
The ice cave is an ice cave. There we go.
Yeah. So it's complete overhaul on that front. Straight ahead in the middle, you're going to see a tower that is going to be the tier 1 tower for that side of the map. And overall, you'll just see a lot more open area in that lane, and it's pretty nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I've already seen a couple people in chat talking about the performance of this new map in comparison. And actually, guys, right now, the new map is performing on the same level as our current map. Because the optimizations that the team has done, we're able to go on there and get the same performance. And there's still optimization to be done. So the fact that even with all this new stuff, we can get that level of optimization is really hopeful for a lot of older PCs that they can run this as best as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the next picture is going to be, you're going to see a tower left-hand side, and looking down this lane, that is actually the same tower from the last image. So that is the very first tower in that lane, and you're basically just looking all the way down the lane. And you're going to see everything from the tundra plants to the trees to the new rocks. You're going to be able to see some flowers in the distance and the icy path that indicates like, hey, this is the lane. So that's, yeah, really good overall facelift there as well.
Yeah, it feels so good. Like you're on the ice lane, Like you know for sure that that's where you are. Now, Skifter, I do have a question. You mentioned the ice path here. So yes. Everyone loves Super Mario ice levels, right? I think I speak for everyone in chat when I say that. Are we going to slide around on that terrain? What's the deal there?
Unfortunately not. I'm sorry.
I mean, come on, man. Everybody loves those levels.
I know. I do.
All right. Now the next image for you, Skiff.
So yeah, the last image is going to be further down that lane all the way at the end. You're going to see the portal. That's the portal that goes from void to ice, the very first one. And you're going to see the plants, the snow falling, stuff like that. More of the same visual aspects and feelings. Right-hand side behind the trees, you're going to see the wall. Over that area is where the blue buff is, where the camp is. That's that area of the map. On the left-hand side, the only true fundamental change to the structure and the layout of the map is going to be an ice lane on the left-hand side of this picture, behind those rocks. The chonker has moved, as well as the other camps. They kind of got shuffled around, and it feels better to path in that area rather than having to like pinball around. That was something we noticed very early on, and we addressed accordingly.
Awesome. And again, you can see just the attention to detail on the maps, right? We saw it in the items, phenomenal. We see it on the map. We can see it really across the board. But the one that this change is absolutely huge. And then we've got another one for the fire lane. So the fire lane, guys, is fundamentally different. When you walk through, we've added a effect to the camera that when you walk into fire lane, it kind of adds a slight red tinge to your camera, like orangish fire tinge, that lets you know that you're in kind of this post forest fire area. But you can see that we're sitting right behind the tier 2 tower in this image. And so you
Mud.
see the
That one got me, bud.
you see the burned trees that are on the map. You see the kind of dried out vegetation on the ground. You can see the path is like slightly cracked and shows that it's been on fire, superheated recently. Overall, super great changes to the fire lane. And then we see in the second image, this is one of the chonker camps. There's a little platform there. That is actually one of the chonker camps.
Yep.
We've removed the giant platform that they were on and left those specifically for the trolls to help differentiate what those two things look like. But what you can see here is under the chonker camp currently, we have a little stream that flows underneath it of water. We changed that to be a lava flow. And so going through there, you're able to see this magma slowly start moving around. You see it in the background there and just really sells the fire lane aspect of the whole thing. The final image shows you, go ahead, Skipter.
Oh, I was going to say, and I know people are going to ask this because they've asked it before. Does the lava hurt you? This lava, no. Technically, this is hardened lava. You don't actually, like if you see around the chonker area, it's all hardened. So it's not going to deal damage to you. Whereas the fire lane lava that's inside the pits and stuff, that still has plans to deal damage. It doesn't right now, but it has plans to. This does not have any plans to. This is just a general walkway. We don't want to mess.
Absolutely. And so the final image of fire lane we have for you guys shows the actual troll camp. This is that raised platform. You now see the little dragon claws or wyvern claws coming out of the ground. The troll will be standing in the middle of that platform, and then the portal will go right where the camera is sitting. This is a much more distinct area of the map. You know for sure that this is something special based on how it's set up. And you can see this is basically, if you go straight through where that lava waterfall is, then you'll hit the wyvern. So this is the middle of the lane, and it just looks and feels incredible when you're playing on the map. I've seen a lot of comments about the weather system and how these differentiated lanes are going to function with the weather system. We definitely have plans for how that's all going to work. We're going to have them kind of adjust slightly based on the lane that they're going to be on. You'll definitely know when something's happening on your lane with the weather. But overall, guys, really exciting changes for the map. We can't wait to have you guys play on it. The plan right now is that this map will be available shortly after the pre-alpha starts. We're working on it every single day, trying to get it up to snuff, performing optimization, making sure it's still playable for as many people as possible. And so it's going to be probably the first major update after the pre-alpha launch, and then we'll go from there. But we'll give you guys more information. We'll give you walkthroughs of the map as time goes on, and give you just more information that way as well. So the next thing we want to talk about is the myths that are following Grognark. So these myths will be the next 4. They're not in any particular order, but Skip, go ahead and start out with the first one that we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, so the first one we're going to talk about is going to be Exiel. Exiel is in the first 4 after Grognark. He is a Reaper. He is, in the lore, he is Malaya's brother. So they are both Reapers, so they will be brother-sister, and they will be the first 2 Reapers. He is also the first true assassin. So I am super excited about that. So be on the lookout for him as he comes over walls and starts one-shotting.
Which terrifies me, man. Like this guy, his kit is going to be night and day changing for the game. Like it's going to be something that players definitely feel the impact of, but still should be super fun. We're really excited to have him in. The next myth is going to be Zero. Zero is going to be a new Sky Slayer for the game. And one of the functionalities of our myth designs is that if the myths have it, they're going to use it. So you guys can see in Zero's splash art that he's got a spear and he's got a pistol. As such, Zero will be using both and will be this kind of mix of ranged and melee throughout the kit. So we're really excited to have Zero become part of the roster because it's going to add a lot of variation to the Sky Slayers and how they're going to work are on the map and be playable on the map with other things.
Yeah,
really excited
for his kid.
Yeah, exactly. It should be super fun. All right.
Yeah.
Skipter, what's next?
Okay.
Nobody cares about this myth, I'm pretty sure.
Chad, listen. I know. You're all gonna lose your stuff. You're gonna be a little hyped for this next one. but it's malware. I know. Controversial opinion. I know. I'm sorry. But malware will be in the next 4 as well. He is going to be a marksman. He's going to be the other side of the coin to Dante. So you're going to be able to play him and Dante. Malware is going to be... He's going to be fun. I'm...
It should be really exciting, right? Like,
I'm just going to leave it at that. It's going to be fun.
Malware, I could see myself becoming a marksman main purely with malware's
because
release.
Of malware.
100%.
Yeah, 100%.
But I'll be like, oh yeah, Dante's really cool and all, but like malware though, like that's pretty cool. And
yeah, he's gonna give you that feeling like I'm so excited to play this, and that's gonna go straight to the game, and you're gonna just feel that excitement. It's never gonna die.
Yep, 100%. Oh, it's going to be super exciting. And we're not saying that because we designed his kit. So it's not...
No.
Not at all. It's not favoritism. No.
No.
All right, guys. And the last of the 4 for the next set of myths is going to be Acheron. We're really excited to have Acheron in the game because he is absolutely going to be a very, I guess, polarizing character when he comes out, because his design and the way his kit works is something that I wasn't expecting when I first read it, and I don't think a lot of players are expecting, but it should be really fun and unique for the game overall. And it's gonna he could easily turn into another Aran, where he can play in multiple places around the map,
3 different roles all at the same time, and everybody's gonna be like, well, where do I want to take him the most?
Exactly.
And he'll be good in all of them.
And so Acheron is going to be a knight. He's going to belong to the knight class, so he'll be able to complete the objectives to get those bonuses as part of his knight class passive. And we really can't wait for you guys to see all 4 of these myths come to Ethereal.
Really
yeah, and just show you guys what all is coming in the future for sure.
Yeah.
Like we said, there's no particular order for these myths. These are just the next 4 that we're working on. So once we have more information about who's coming out in what order, we'll definitely let you guys know and give more information as that all comes up.
Absolutely.
So I gave a little bit of a teaser for it earlier for those of you that saw it, but we want you to talk to you guys about the next time you're going to get your hands on Ethereal. We talked about the stress test already and how it didn't really go as well as we planned, but it gave us a lot of good information. But we want to have another one for you guys. So we're announcing a second stress test on December 18th. What we're going to do is, if you have already gained access to the first stress test via your access keys, you still have access. You can keep that access. You're going to be able to play the game when it starts.
Right away from the beginning.
Yep. And we're going to increase the amount of people that get access keys from there. So, like I said, you have access, you're good to go. You'll be able to have access from the start. December 18th, we're going to start it again at 9 a.m. Go from there to get that new stress test going, and we're going to go until it breaks again. Right, and we're just going to we're going to have everything that broke in the last stress test fixed, and we're just going to go and see what happens and see how many people we can get in. To get access for the new stress test, you need to make sure and sign up for the newsletter on the website. If you already signed up for the last one, you're still registered, you can still gain access. But the big thing is, go to our website. It's linked below, whether you're on Twitch or YouTube. On the top right, there is a button that says newsletter. Click that button. It'll take you to a place you can enter your email, enter it in there, and then you're entered for a chance to get an access key. They are randomly given out. So if someone entered earlier than you, that does not give them a better chance. It's purely random out of everyone that's going to receive a key.
Yeah. And quick note, if you were in our last stress test, even if you still had access, remove all the files that you had, uninstall the last game, because it will be a completely new download. The old files will not work at all. So just uninstall, delete, etc. The last files. Make sure those are gone, otherwise you're going to have problems coming in.
Yep. And just like the last stress test, any new patrons do get first priority access to the stress test. So the links to that are also in the descriptions. But guys, we really are excited to get you back into the game, get as many people into the game as possible before that pre-alpha release. We are still shooting for a pre-alpha release of this year. And so this stress test will give us the final bit of information we need going into that as well. So December 18th, stress test number 2, Electric Boogaloo, is happening. and we can't wait to get you guys back in the game and be a part of this as with us. Skifter, any final notes on the stress test?
No.
All right.
Good.
Well, guys, we want to open this up now to a open Q&A for you all. If you have any questions in chat about anything we talked about, anything we didn't talk about in general, go ahead and ask us in the chat now. We're happy to go through any questions you guys have and answer as much as possible. I do see a question actually already about the mocap suit and the new animations. We actually have received the mocap suit, and our mocap team is already hard at work on getting those new animations out. So that is all coming through. We're going to get those into the game as soon as possible, and we should start seeing the benefits of that very, very soon.
Yeah, we don't have a specific date on when those are going to be, released, but we are hard at work making them and getting them ready and polishing everything. So.
Yep, absolutely. Marina theme when actual Des? That's coming. I mean, we've been releasing the themes very steadily, and there's only a couple left, so I guarantee you it's going to be out in the next few weeks here.
Okay, so I have a question multiple times, so let me ask you, Jelly, and also kind of answer yourself. Will the minimap show all the lanes or only the ones you're on currently? First, I'm gonna answer the second part of that question first. The minimap the minimap on the screen is the minimap on the screen. There will also be another functionality that has not been added yet. It currently is slated to be on an M key bind to bring up all three. That is the current plan. It might change to the scoreboard, maybe. We're talking about it. But that is something that has not been put in. So pressing M will bring up the whole map on your screen and bigger. It'll be a little opaque so you can still see through it, but it'll be up all three side by side on your screen. You'll still have the mini maps you can scroll through, but that's the plan on that. And
the big thing, is we want to find a way to make the minimap accessible to as many people as possible. We know that having 3 separated lanes is going to cause some confusion. So we're looking at solutions every day to help make that more accessible while still making it unique at the same time and save on that screen space. So we're going through a bunch of options, including the full map option, potentially including it on the scoreboard, are all things we're looking at to help alleviate some of those concerns. Yeah, there's another question here I see about, will our account progress be reset upon beta or full release? That is something we're talking about internally. For the time being, I can't give you a definitive answer, but we will have to look at that, and we will definitely announce it before it happens. Whatever we decide to do is going to be announced long before then.
But we don't have any plans to do so right now, but that could change. So like during the stress test, you're going to keep the same accounts now.
Mm-hmm. So since there are many items in general, will there be a recommended items tab for each character, or will there be a testing zone for items rather than using them in game? So we actually already have recommended items for each and every character. We took our testers that play those characters the most, asked them, what items do you think are a good general build for this character? They gave us their recommendations. We tweaked them slightly to what we wanted to see in there as well, and then put those out. So each myth currently does have a recommended items tab, from starting items down to a full build, as well as some situational items if you wanted to mix it up a little bit. Actual Death is a great question about the newsletter and the stress test keys. Signing up for the newsletter, will emails be given the day of or days leading up to it? For stress test access, the new keys will not be sent out until the day of. But if you already have received your keys, you have access. You don't have to worry about that at all.
Yep. When the new download's ready, we'll send an announcement. Be like, hey, new download's ready. Everybody that had access can go download it and be good to go.
Yep.
And if you have a key and you haven't used it yet, like if you got a key, like say you missed a day or whatever, like you had work or whatever, and you got a key, it's still a valid key. So you can absolutely still go redeem it on the website, make your account, redeem it on the website, and you still will be good to go.
And if you did not receive an access key, but your email is in the newsletter, you are still eligible to get a new access key. We have that list still, and we will go through that list of everyone that's on the newsletter to give them access keys randomly, like everything else.
Yep. I have a question that I'm going to ask you that we have. Do the overseers still exist?
What's that? What are the overseers?
Yeah, the overseers are another class. It was teased a while ago, years ago. And it was on the website for a while. And they do still exist. They are still planned. The last time we announced was beta. We were gonna have the new class for beta, so we still got a ways for that. So don't expect to see anything anytime soon as far as those.
Yeah, we want to flesh out the classes, the 7 classes we have already, as well as the characters in all of those classes before we start adding new classes and new characters for that class as well.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I can't tell you guys what the obelisk does. Jelly's here. He still doesn't know, so I can't tell you. Otherwise,
come on,
know.
after the stream, I gotta get him to tell me, guys. Can we have a favorites tab on the item shop? That way we can buy things and make builds to save them on that tab to make shopping faster. Eventually, yes, there's a huge plan to have custom builds in the game. We're actually working actively on incorporating a builder onto our website and the game so that we can communicate the two things. So you can go on a builder and put all your items in on a web page and then import that into the game is a future plan for us that we're working on getting the builder set up for. So really exciting about that, to have that accessibility for you guys. And it is something that we have planned, Link Snipes.
Did Skifter find his hairbrush?
All right, guys. Well, what other questions do you guys have? We've got some time still before we are going to end this live stream. If you have anything, please feel free to ask. If we can't answer, we will tell you that, but we want to answer as much as we can for you at the same time. Will there be controller support on the alpha release? Skifter, I'll let you take that one.
Probably not on the release. We know we definitely have it in the plans. It's definitely something big that needs to be implemented, and it might make it in for the pre-alpha launch. If not, it will be in one of the subsequent major updates. So it'll be either there or very shortly after. We know that's a big thing. So
perfect. And Pappy asked a question, when are environmental kills getting tracked for when he throws people off of the map? So environmental kills are already being tracked. If you dealt damage to somebody and then they fall to their death by getting thrown off the map, the credit does go to your character because you damaged them most recently in their most recent combat state. So that's something that definitely is already being tracked. It's already good to go. So when you start throwing people off in that stress test, Pappy, we can't wait to see you racking up kills with it.
I got a question for you, Jelly. Once Patreons reach the $800 value goal, can you explain the launch skins we get with the Myth launch as well as if it's retroed in? So I believe they're talking about the premium Myth pack. Yeah, so you want to explain how that works?
Yeah, so the premium Myth pack is going to work that you unlock every myth as they release. In addition, you're going to unlock their first skin as they release in perpetuity. So for, let's say the next 4 come out. We've got, like we said, XCL, Zero, Malware, and Acheron. You'll unlock all 4 of those characters automatically, and you'll get their first skin at the same time, and it'll be as they release. It'll just be credited to your account. When those rewards are given out, we'll give you a code that gives you the premium Myth pack, and then we just set it to say that anyone with a premium Myth pack gets the character and the skin at the same time.
Yeah, and like Mud just mentioned, that was on the Kickstarter way back in the day. And so that is on the Patreon still. It's so we have a regular Myth pack, which is just the myths and the playable characters, and then we have a premium Myth pack, which is later on down in the cumulative rewards, and that is including this.
Perfect. Will you be able to party with more than 3 people at any point? Right now, we don't have plans to increase the party limit for the early phases of the game, but eventually you will be able to party with more than the 3 people. Basically, in the pre-alpha, we don't want a 6-stack going in and just kind of hurting the experience of the game for other players that are solo queuing or duo queuing.
Yeah, we want to try to keep it fair for everybody, especially when, there's relatively low player base numbers. We want to be able to make sure that those, like, if we do have a couple 6-stacks that just go through and, just run through games, that it doesn't skew any sort of stats or just ruin the player experience for the other 6 that may not be queued together.
Link Snipes, who is the little character on top of Aron's shoulder in the game's home screen, and will he be playable or is he just a pet or companion? So that is Nikolai. He will be a playable character. He's further out than the ones we already talked about, so we'll give you guys more information later on, but he is a playable character in the future that he's just as excited as everybody else, honestly.
Goose. Can I make sure I don't get matched with Skifter? I'd like to increase my odds of getting Jelly, the superior player on my team. I'll tell you right now, you can have Jelly on your team. I don't want him.
Oh, okay.
I'll be on the other team, the winning team.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Bearded can be on your team too. I'll take shot.
Noble Cyborg, yes, you just need to be signed up for the newsletter to be in the pool of accounts picked for the pre-alpha. That's correct.
Correct.
Will the Berserker get the ability for when they break through a wall to damage people on the other side of the wall? That is not something we have planned right now. Really, we want to flesh out the class abilities base, and then if they need something, maybe we can look into adding that kind of feature in the future. Dez, our loadout's going to be available for the pre-alpha. They will not be in the pre-alpha at release, but we're going to add them in as soon as possible so that we can get that customization in for you guys. All right, let's see. We got time for a couple more questions here, guys. Yes, the pre-alpha is still aimed for this year. Skifter, roll queues. What are we talking about for roll queues?
Roll queues. So, we will probably be making adjustments in the next stress test to roll queues. We do want you to be able to select a role even in blind mode lobbies. But as we know, blind mode lobbies are really the only lobbies everybody's going to be in right now because there's no draft, there's not enough characters right now. We might adjust the way it works temporarily. We still want people to be able to pick their roles, but with limited players, we don't want it to skew anything. Adjust the way that works as a temporary measure.
Yeah, absolutely. And we want to make sure that there's few complications as possible. We don't want the roll queue to add another level of complexity when we're just trying to make sure that the game is playable, you can get into games, all those other things. Harped is a man after my own heart, or woman, or person after my own heart, drinking Dr. Pepper. Big fan.
Shame. We will definitely be making, if the roles remain in the draft, like not in the draft, in the pregame lobby, we'll definitely make them more visible, so that way you know, like, hey, don't forget to pick your roles. So I know that was a big thing.
And then there's a question on YouTube from Redek. Will the website be so heavy? So our website is constantly getting worked on, constantly getting optimized. If you guys haven't seen, we've got the website is all secured now via our servers, so we're good to go there. So it's just a constant improvement as we go on for the website. Fumo, when are the new kits getting revealed? You'll have to wait and see. We'll let you know when it happens, Fumo. You can't say too much.
Will there be snowmen in the new Iceland? Huh.
Hey, Des, if you want to build a snowman, you can go build a snowman.
Just put on Frozen, build a snowman. You do you, but
absolutely.
Take Marina, have a fun time.
Will battle passes be a form of monetization for the game for season 0 to get more funds for the game? That is something we're not ready to talk about, what the plans are for that quite yet. So I can't tell you when they're going to be implemented. We have talked about adding battle passes, but past that, there's no definitive date as to when they're going to be added into the game quite yet.
Yeah, nothing has been. Can you? Okay, Jelly, this is a good one. This is the good one from Goose. Can you grate Parmesan cheese on Exial's abs?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If all you got to do is find him first.
Yeah. That was much.
All right, guys. Well, we appreciate all the questions. If you have any further questions, we will be leaving this up as a YouTube video, so you can ask your questions in the comments on the YouTube video. Links should be underneath both streams. That way you can go through, ask any questions that we haven't answered. We'll absolutely be trying to go through those comments and answer as many as we can. We appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. We're excited for this next stress test, excited for the future of Ethereal. And Skifter, any last words for the community?
No? Join the Twitch chat.
All right, guys. Have a great night, and we'll see you guys very soon.